going to say, yeah, unfortunately he left, but you are in luck. He has just re-arrived. Wink, wink.
So we're just gonna wait for him for his okay. Whenever he says he's ready, we're gonna let him in. He's ready. Okay. So everybody, give it up to the one and only, the wonderful Mitch Briscoe. Oh, sorry, bitch with an M.
Bitch with an M. Hey.
There you go.
My backdrop is starting to get worse and worse because of the humidity.
No.
I know nobody cares, but
no, it looks great.
It's so nice to see you all.
Nice to see you
too.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. It's just a crazy day.
It has been for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
So what can I do for what would you like to talk about? Anything special?
Let's talk about black shirts, black long sleeve shirts. Can we talk
about
yeah.
You got the memo.
I did.
I did too.
Yeah. Marilyn did too.
Next time, if you guys want to include me on that, that'd be great.
I think Chad was just assuming we were all going to wear Hawaiian shirts. Yeah.
I don't have one. Don't do that to me.
I'll go with the black.
Yeah, no, I have a bunch of black long sleeve T-shirts from various different places. My favorite ones are the bougie ones from Saks Fifth Avenue because they're very luxurious feeling. So I kind of save those to go online. Don't give my big secret away, please. Because it sounds like the only homeless guy with like long sleeve T-shirts from Saks Fifth Avenue. But okay, good.
Welcome, Mitch.
Yeah, so last time we met, we were talking about Star Trek and Star Wars and all kinds of crazy stuff.
We were. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah, I'm dying to know what your involvement. You said you were involved somehow with Star Trek.
Yeah, I was involved. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. After I got out of college, after I graduated from CalArts, I went to work for a guy named Robert Abel. You can look him up. It was a really, it was kind of a groundbreaking company. I was really lucky to get that job. They were sort of the little, how can you say it? They were kind of this little crucible out of which a great deal of special effects grew. Like it was, a lot of people came out of there who went to work on Star Wars, the original Star Wars. Richard Edlund was a cameraman who worked there, won an Oscar for Star Wars. I was his assistant. And let me see, I got offered the job doing roto animation, but I was way too narcissistic and full of myself. And I was just starting to get my own assignments as a commercial director. And I didn't want to work on a film that we all saw as a Buck Rogers movie for a Saturday afternoon for kids. Because I'm not kidding you, that was the perception in our community of what Star Wars was going to be. So yeah, that was kind of that. I mean, so a bunch of friends of mine worked on it. There's a guy named Robbie Blaylock who won an Oscar, who I went to CalArts with, and he'd worked on the optical team, optical effects. That was predating digital effects. And yeah, anyway, that's a whole long story, but Robbie and I did a whole bunch of things. He unfortunately passed away last year, but I came really close to being on that team, but like I said, I was kind of really narcissistic and was starting to do my own work. And we all really thought it was going to be like a Buck Rogers movie for kids. So I'm sort of like the A&R guy who works at the record company who says, oh yeah, I almost signed the Beatles. But anyway.
Almost.
Yeah, I could have signed it. But, people, in those kinds of industries like film and records, people brag about missed opportunities. They love to brag about it. Yeah, I almost worked on Star Wars, whatever. I almost signed the Beatles. So but I think even more interesting was my involvement in Star Trek, because I don't have a credit on it. I don't think I do. I doubt it. But I did work on the first one, and that was, I believe, amazingly enough, nobody talks about this. I'm going to look it up real quick. Actually, when do you guys do that? I don't want to get distracted. When I was on it, the director was Robert Weiss. I think he was the finishing director. I don't know if they switched. Does somebody know? Could somebody verify that?
Checking it now.
It's kind of an important part of the story because Robert Weiss was one of the towering great directors in the history of Hollywood. He was an editor. Do you know who he is, Robert Weiss? Does anybody know? He's not a household word, But Robert Weiss was an editor who edited Citizen Kane very famously, and then he became a film director. He directed How the Earth Stood Still, The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was like, come on, that's one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. Then he directed West Side Story, one of, if not the greatest musical film ever produced. So, you know, Paramount had really high hopes for Star Trek. I mean, they got Robert Weiss to direct it. Unfortunately, they hired the wrong team to do the special effects, and that was the company that I worked for, Robert Naval Associates.
Mitch, it was Robert Weiss who.
Yeah, it was Robert Weiss. So
yeah.
you know, it was really the worst Star Trek film. But think about Robert Weiss and his au revoir as a filmmaker was really incredible. I forget some of the other films he directed, but I mean, just The Day the Earth Stood Still, West Side Story, edited Citizen Kane. I mean, this guy was literally a towering figure. I don't even know how many Oscars the guy won. And so to make a long story short, so because this company that I worked for had never done feature films in special effects wise, we did live special effects. We did lots of TV commercials for like Levi's and 7-Up and, you know, all kinds of, we did on-air promo graphics for, you know, we did the first HBO signature graphics and all that kind of stuff. And so we got tapped, I'm not sure how, but we got tapped to do the special effects. I mean, I was like, when that happened, I was like, you know, one of the creative people there. I was not like any big person. Later, I became the creative director of the company, but I'm trying to channel this all back, this Star Trek fiasco. So a huge amount of money came into the company, and it bloomed from maybe 15 employees to about 40, right? And the person at the company who was in charge of doing the designs, who designed V'ger and all that kind of stuff, it all sort of spiraled out of control. So it was just, you know, Paramount was getting really nervous. Like, we need some footage here. Like, what's going on? And execs from Paramount, like Katzenberg and the other Berg, I forgot his name. There's 3 Bergs and all these, Spielberg, Katzenberg, and the other one, I forgot his name. And they would come over to the office and like have these meetings, like, what's going on? Where's the footage? And so then they decided, and this is where the whole thing really spiraled out of control. The optical effects for that film were done in 65 millimeter. Now, I'm not going to get into all the technical reasons why, but the format that you choose for producing your special effects when we were using film, very important. The only Star Wars, we'll talk about that later, they really did it right. Star Trek did it all wrong, thanks to the people I worked for. So the question was, who has 65 millimeter optical equipment in Hollywood? And the only person that owned 65 millimeter equipment was this guy named Doug Trumbull, who was a very famous director and special effects guy. He directed Brainstorm, the film, and he did a whole bunch of like Oscar-winning special effects stuff. He died not too long ago. Doug Trumbull was a big guy. And Doug Trumbull's company, Future General, was owned by Paramount, who was doing Star Trek. The company I worked for needed 65 millimeter equipment to do the special effects with. So Paramount said, oh, we'll just take Doug Trumbull's equipment and we'll send it over to Robert Hamill Associates, which they did. This started an all-out war between these two companies. And the war resulted with the company I worked for being fired, and it resulted in Doug Trumbull getting all of his equipment back. And then he finished all the special effects. So it was really crazy. And then there was a massive exodus from the company I worked for. I stuck around and then got to play a very important role in that company until, you know, eventually I got fired for something I didn't do. It's just like working for the Sea Org. But anyway, that was, it was a really crazy time. But, you know, I got to meet Robert Weiss. I went with my boss, Robert Abel. One day we went over to Paramount to an editing room, and I could feel the friction, and that Weiss didn't really like Abel because of all the politics that was going on, and he just wanted to make his movie. And, you know, I remember sitting there at a Moviola, you know, analog editing machine with Robert Weiss. Oh my God, I was like 2 years out of film school. It was like went to the Vatican, and I was like hanging with the Pope. It was like crazy because I was just like a totally starstruck, you know, 28-year-old kid, you know, 28-year-old young man. And but yeah, that was fantastic. Meeting Robert Weiss was great. One of the highlights of that whole period. So yeah, that was pretty much the Star Trek fiasco. But I mean, I did a lot of like artwork and stuff, assistant work and stuff that was then used in the film. But I don't think any of us got credit. So that was my big Star Trek thing. And the Star Wars thing was just, I passed on it. I was like, whatever. But I did have a lot of friends, like I said, that worked on it. And people don't realize that when the first Star Wars was made, that was all done in LA. There was no ILM up in, Lucasville, whatever it is, because he didn't hit yet. I mean, nobody wanted to make that film. The only reason that Fox made it, 20th Century Fox, is they saw what's the guy's name? Ralph McQuarrie, the guy, I think his name was McQuarrie. He was the guy who did all the visualization illustrations. Yep. That's what sold that film to 20th Century Fox. And then they gave Lucas a really crappy deal, not a lot of money. And then he said, okay, but I want the right, you probably know this, it's a famous story. He said, well, I want the rights to sell T-shirts. And so as a result of that, Fox accidentally, unwittingly gave him all the ancillary rights. Wow. It included toys, T-shirts, you name it. And so that was the deal. I mean, it was a better deal than if they had paid him what he wanted to be paid. Because what made Lucas so rich, obviously what made him famous was that he made a brilliant film. What made him so rich is that he had the ancillary rights to Star Wars, and 20th Century Fox did not. So anyway, that was, but I had so many, it was being done in LA, some of it in North Hollywood, some of it in Hollywood, a couple of blocks away from where I worked. And so we used to hang out. I mean, I'd go visit my friends who were doing the model work, shooting the Death Star, and or my friend Robbie Blaylock, who was doing opticals. And we were all hanging out. Even though I didn't take the job, I was still part of that culture of, designer film people who did, what did we call ourselves? We would work in teams. There'd be like a programmer, technical director, and then a creative guy who would do designs and stuff. And we were all friends. A bunch of us had gone to Cal Arts together. And so, yeah, I had friends that worked on that. So I got to see all that stuff being done, like all the model work. And obviously the big sets were shot in England at Pinewood Studios, like the interior of the Death Star and all that really cool stuff. But all the special effects stuff, Weston is getting really antsy. I'll let you outside, sweetie. All that really cool special effects stuff, like all the model work, was all done in Los Angeles. So that was really cool. Same thing. I got to let him out.
No, go ahead.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Oh.
You're going out. Come on.
Sweet Weston. Yeah.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my intro. Those are my, and also I just remember the same thing with when Blade Runner happened. I mean, I remember going to see that in preview before it came out. I had a bunch of friends. They were working at a company in Venice. I forget the name of the company. It's named after one of the streets in Venice. So we went out there. I mean, I saw the what was the name of the guy? The big pyramid where a bunch of the film took place. The headquarters of the corporation. I forget what it was called. But that was all analog models and real fire. Nothing was being done by computers back then. So It was amazing to see all that stuff because we either worked together for Robert Abel or we went to school together or we have friends of friends. It was just this great little community of special effects guys. And then I sort of broke off from that and became, just like a full-blown commercial director because I was seeking my fame and fortune that way. And then, ended up working for Scientology temporarily. And then they made it impossible for me to leave. So here we are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mitch, I have an important question.
Sure.
The third trilogy. What's your opinion?
Of Star Wars?
Yeah.
What was the name of that one? That was
episode 7, 8, and 9, whatever
Yeah,
they're called.
no,
The Disney ones now.
Oh no, I hate the new ones or whatever. I don't even pay attention to Star Wars anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm cool, right? Right? Isn't that the right answer?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't know if
absolutely.
there is a right answer. It's just
No,
because
there is absolutely
we're
a
talking
right
about the
answer.
difference in
They-
production also from the originals, the original trilogy, and the models and all the way that everything was done, and then everything's computerized nowadays. I have a feeling that I haven't seen episode 9, but I have a feeling that episode 7 was like a remake of episode 4, but with CG.
Yeah,
Like
th-
that. Like
yeah, very likely. I mean, very likely. I mean, they did some upgrades on episode 4. I think they did a couple of major re-releases, right?
Yeah.
Steve, you
Yeah.
would know that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, they did. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
which
When
they
they did this special edition stuff.
Yeah, they would like
Crap.
redo some of the mat work and some of the,
Yeah.
they redid some stuff with opticals because it was, the stuff was
Yeah, like-
really, it dated really quickly. I mean, because I was part of this community that was really forging ahead trying to create this intersection between digital technology and analog film technology. I mean, when I went to work for Robert Abel, he had one of the things they did there was they built motion control systems, nobody was using motion control systems. We had a guy there. We had a couple of students from Caltech who were like seniors. They were computer programmers. They did all the programming work. We had a guy in the machine shop named Alexander Peterle. I'm trying to think of his name. British guy who raced Mini Coopers and built custom motion control systems. He'd come out of 2001. He made the motion control systems for Stanley Kubrick in England. He worked at that company. And then we had another guy named Con Pedersen, who was an American guy. He'd worked on 2001. And the very famous sequence, the Stargate sequence, we're on that psychedelic light show.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was envisioned and invented by this guy, Con Pedersen, who worked with Robert Abel, and the motion control system, which was called Slit Scan, which is what they named it. That was built by this guy, Peter Alexander, who worked in our machine shop. So I was like really lucky. I got out of college, I graduated from college, and the only job I could get was working for this wacky commercial company that also did graphics for TV. And I was like the fourth artist they hired. They had two artists, and then I was the third one, and I got hired just to be a grunt assistant, do whatever those guys needed. And then we had couple of cameramen, and we had an editor, and a secretary and the boss. And we grew to by the time we grew to about 30 people when we got the Star Trek thing, I think we'd won like 50 Clios and been on the cover of every industry magazine. It was crazy. I mean, I was really lucky, up until when I got fired. But yeah, so it was really fortunate because I remember dropping like taking a like peyote, getting really stoned on like mushrooms when I was 15 years old, and sneaking into the Pantages Theater and lying because I had a girlfriend in like high school who was an usherette at the Pantages, and like lying in front of the front row, completely stoned, and watching 2001. So, and then later to meet these guys and work with them, it was really, really amazing. So yeah, I'm oversharing. We do that. Those of us who are cult survivors,
Yeah.
we trauma victims. I don't know if you've heard this, but we overshare, right? Everybody who overshares. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Major. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the three of us. I guess those two don't. So
I mean,
Yeah,
I
they don't
know.
know. They don't. Well, it's only because they don't have anything to talk about.
True. True.
I've
I do have a
never
question
overshared.
for you, Mitch, if that's
No,
okay.
I'm glad you don't overshare, but sometimes I'm guilty of that. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Chad. What's up?
I apologize if this is common knowledge, but the years you were working for Scientology, did you were you stuck just working for them, or were you able to do your own independent
No,
projects?
I just worked for them. I had for a
Okay.
while. This sounds really wild, but well, because it was intense. I thought I was going to be in and out. But when you're hardcore, and I was a Scientologist. I mean, I gave them credit for having helped me get off the drugs, which was, it took me years to understand that I gave them credit for nothing. That it was before I could fully take credit for that. And I've talked to other people. I never talked about. Let me answer your question first, because I can overshare about my journey out of addiction later. but yeah. So when you're really in, I had given them credit for that, and I felt that I owed them, and I came up there to do one film, and then Miscavige went. Do you guys know what an org board is? An organizing board? I don't know if you've come across that, but it's this 7-section way of organizing every activity in Scientology. Supposedly, it can be used right down to organizing your own life, right?
Hmm.
And
Tampa Bread has one of those.
Yeah, Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm not surprised. Hey, you can look it up. You can look up Scientology
forgot about that,
Organizing
yeah.
Board,
Yeah.
and you can do one for yourself. You can read all about it. There's, I'm sure. Anyway, so being on a Scientology org board is like having herpes. Like you're never going to get rid of it. You're never going to get off of it, right? It's just always going to be there. I mean, you can be kicked off, but taking yourself off of a Scientology org board is like a crime. It's a very high crime. You don't just walk up to an org board and pull yourself off of it and walk away. So I did this. I went to Gold. I did this film. I did it very quickly, which I had no idea was a world-breaking, record-breaking thing. I had no idea. To me, it was no big deal. And believe me, it wasn't that big a deal. But in their context, because they were so inept at filmmaking, it was a big deal. So one of the people from HCO, which is the ethics department, who's over HR, you could say it's the HR department, but they're also the department that, lock people in auditing rooms and interrogate them for hours. Mm-hmm. So someone from HCO said, hey, you got to come and see the org board. And I went in there and I looked at it. Juliana, why are you laughing? Because do you know the punchline?
No, because
That
Anhata said,
comment.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't.
Someone make a short of the herpes quote, please. So somebody
yeah.
got to go back to this and make a short of that quote. I guess.
Yeah, okay. I should have said. I think I got that from Eddie Murphy. I think
that was
the whole
a good
quote.
one.
I think the whole
Kind of
quote
gross.
is, it's like herpes or luggage. You'll never get rid of it. So anyway, yeah, I want to quote a short from that. So I go into the building where the big org board is, and I look at the cine division, the film division, and at the top of it, there's the person in charge of the division. There's their name, and then right under their name is my name, and it says Mitch Brisker, NSO, which stands for Nunc York, and David Miscavige had gone in there and put my name up on the freaking org board. So I was no longer someone who was just hired to come up and direct a film. I was part of their organization, and he knew that Golden Era Productions would use the full weight of their pressure to make sure I did not get off that org board. And the only way I could have was to just leave, get in my car and leave Scientology, stop being, it was just, I'm just learning about the whole plot to bring me up there. I mean, I don't want to be like making myself seem more important because they plotted to get me up there, but it's really devious. Like I just spoke with an executive who's been out of there for years, who was the person that asked me to work on the Dianetics campaign with Jeff Hawkins. And that's how I got recognized by Miscavige. And she started filling me in on some of the details that what the scene was before I went there and the kind of machinations they were going through, to kind of get me up there. Because to me, it was just kind of like, hey, Mitch, would you like to make a film for us? It was kind of like a really pretty girl saying, I'd really love to go out on a date with you. But her intention was just to lock you in the basement and never let you out. So anyway, it's a crazy story. Anything else?
Great
Mitch,
answer.
what was
Lots of questions.
what were the initials that you said there? They were next to your name.
Oh yeah, NSO and Nancy
And what does it stand for?
It stands for non-Sea Org.
Oh,
That's a term. That's a term. Like if somebody has a post, especially on an org board, occasionally it would happen, or was hired by the church or whatever. They would often put next to their name NSO, meaning non-Sea Org.
Non-Sea Org.
Right.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's a thing. It's an obscure acronym. These people, they'll shorten anything and then they'll give it an acronym and then they'll shorten it. They're worse than the Australians. Australians are really the worst. well, they make things really short or really long. You know, they can't help themselves. They just, you know what I'm talking about. Like,
You got that electric boogaloo?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could maybe help us with this. Oh, like Gaza, like your name's Gary. So they shorten it to Gaz, and then they lengthen it to Gaza. So, and it ends up not being any shorter. It just ends up Gary Gaza. It just ends up being Australianized. And if
That's so
anybody
funny.
from Australia wants to defend me on that, oh yeah, there's tons of those, and then they end up. It's kind of like the Australian version of Cockney, which is amazing. You know, like the word tawdry, right? You know that word tawdry. You know what it means? It's like a woman that's tawdry.
Yeah.
There used to be a shop in London in the 1800s and the Victorian times that sold women's underwear, and it was called St. Audrey's, and they shortened it down to tawdry.
It's not shorter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not really, but it's more fun.
yeah.
More fun. There you
It's more
go.
fun. And that's what Australians and Cockney people do. They make language way more fun.
So we've got some questions and comments for you already. They've been coming in like crazy.
Oh,
and we've
good.
got some super chats. Some are for you and some are otherwise, but I just want to
Okay.
run through those and get to your questions too. So we got Destiny Salazar. Question, Mitch, what has been your most impactful experience since joining SPTV?
There's so many of them. It's like there isn't even one. They just keep rolling out. Like there's one, there's another. Crazy things happen. Like Laura Anderson. I was being interviewed early on, and she just put a chat that, like her, was just like in your face, right? But she's very in your face. Hey, Mitch, you know my parents? I'm like, what? And then when I found out who her parents were, and I knew them for 30 years, and I couldn't believe that I knew people for 30 years, and they never mentioned that they had 2 children. And her parents are lovely people, and I knew them well, and I interacted with them. Mostly her mom, because she was in editing at Gold, and she was the librarian. And that sounds like a boring job, but every time, if you needed a piece of film, she was the one who would get it for you out of billions of hours of film. Is your cat okay, Juliana?
Yeah,
You sound like
it's
your cat just coughed up a fur ball. What the heck's going on there?
No, it's just climbed on top of something.
Oh
He's
yeah, they do that.
bringing. I'll be back.
Yeah.
So Mitch, can I?
She's smart. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I
There's
was
more
just saying,
to
can
that
I-
answer.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna
So
say
it-
the
there was
least
that one.
impactful. The least impactful was probably that stupid letter you got from Scientology, right?
that actually, I was just going to say, Marilyn, that was the most impactful because I did go, oh. I mean, you know, it was momentarily triggering. I had to do some quick mental dance work to kind of deconstruct
Yeah.
that again because, boy, they really push your buttons and know how to. I mean, the entire thing was just intended to
Yeah.
make me feel bad. You know, it was just like, you know, it served no purpose whatsoever.
Right.
And she's back. It's the beautiful Juliana. Cats, everything's good. There you go.
Yeah, they slept all afternoon, so they might be a little bit like agitated now. So if I disappear or something, I may need to.
Yeah, no problem.
So
And
we're talking
I'm-
about Laura. You had more to the story, and I interrupted
right.
you. I'm sorry.
Oh, me? More to the story?
About Laura and her parents, and
Oh, yeah. No, that was, oh, yeah, there's a little bit more. So then I became friends with Laura. And that brought back all these memories about the ranch where she grew up. You've heard her story
yes.
because I'd forgotten all about it. The ranch is about 15 minutes from Gold. You've all heard the stories down a road, the Indians, sometimes they shoot guns at you and stuff.
Yeah.
But I shot a couple of films there because it was a nice piece of land to shoot on, right? We built some sets out there. We built an African village out there. We did a bunch of stuff, which I found out later. They left the African village for months and months, and it rained on it. It got destroyed, and it was full of rattlesnakes and black widows. And they made the kids tear it apart. And when I found that out, oh my God, it just broke my heart. So I used to go out there to shoot, right? And the kids, I didn't know this. The kids all knew who I was. Their parents had told them. And I was like a special person or something. And whenever I would go out there, the first time I went out there, I went over to where the kids all lived. and about 30 kids. You know these photos of like these, Doctors Beyond Borders. They go to an African village and they're surrounded by these loving children that are just all hugging them and have their arms around them. You ever see one of those photos? Do you know what I mean? Like, so it was like that. I'd walk out there and like 30 kids would run up and crowd around me and start hugging me and talking and, just demanding my attention. And I thought, what great kids. I mean, these kids must be so happy. And, they're so kind of exuberant and extroverted. And then I find out they were so starved for adult attention that's why they were doing it. And it's just, I mean, I want to cry. I'm sorry. My dog is trying to get a bone this big through an opening in the door that big. I wish I could put the camera on him because it's a circle. But so then every time I went out there, I would go over and hang out with the kids because they were awesome. So it was really great to get a chance to connect with Laura because, I only saw her in that context. So last night I went with a dear friend of mine. I used to work with at Scientology Media Productions. We went to Jeff's screening in Studio City to see his film Brothers Broken, and I was so thrilled because I've never met Laura in person. I've watched her work, she's watched my work, and we've sent texts back and forth, right? And I looked over and I saw something very shiny, and it was obviously Vanessa's wearing like
Her
a
tiara. Yeah. She told me
something.
she popped in earlier
Yeah.
before you came in, but she said to tell you it was great meeting you, that let you know that she showed all of us that wonderful picture of you
she
looking
did?
so handsome and with those
That's
beautiful
so
glamorous
sweet.
girls. So
But I got so excited because I saw them in the audience, and I'm tugging at my friend. It's Laura FM. She doesn't know who that is, but I'm saying it like, it's Scarlett Johansson. Look, like I'm really like. So yeah, it was great. It was great. I got to meet them, which is the rest of the story, and then I finally in person met Jeffrey Augustine and his lovely wife Karen, who had communicated with a lot. Obviously, we know a lot about it. Blah, blah, blah. So it was so great to give her a hug after all these years. And I was supposed to hate her. I mean, I consulted on, because I didn't really work on a lot of the negative stuff. I mean, my job was to make Scientology and Miscavige look good, not to make other people look bad. And a lot of people don't want to believe that. They think I'm just withholding information. It was a fact. So, but yeah.
But I think.
What's that?
I was going to say, I think there's something so healing when you say something like, I was excited to meet this person I was supposed to hate because of whatever I did or whatever I was made to do while I was in the cult, It makes me think of a couple of times that I've seen Mike Rinder with John Atack, and Mike was actually one of the people that was harassing John for many years. And nowadays they
Well, I did. I mean, I did consult on, because I would be brought in because I was like the media person. So these hate sites and hate videos, they're media, right? So then because I was busy, this was at S&P when that happened. I was busy working on figuring out what the programming was going to be for the network and, figuring out the mission statement for the network and how it would be presented to the industry and all this kind of stuff, right? That you would do for any client, not just an evil cult, right? And, but there were hate sites going on then while I was doing that at S&P before it opened. There was one for Karen, there was one for Jesse Prince, there was one for Mark Fisher. So I was asked to consult on these things, and the information was so distasteful that it really turned me off. I was like, why? I don't care who they were. And, it was just, I always felt kind of guilty just because I was cleaning up language and trying to figure out ways to make it more impactful. And so I could just get back to my job, right? Because that wasn't my job. But I especially felt bad about the one with Karen. I did speak with her on the phone maybe a year and a half ago, but like I said, I just met her last night. And I said, hey, Karen, I want to apologize to you because I worked on this site. She said, there's a site. I never saw it. So she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, she's like, whatever. And she didn't even care what it said, but it was pretty disgusting. I know that Mark Fisher knew all about his. One of the reasons I was eager to go on with Mark is because I'd spent so many hours listening to David Miscavige trash talk Mark. He hated Mark probably more than anybody. So I really wanted to appear with him, just, to make that statement. So yeah, that worked out. But yeah, I kind of
Vanessa came back here and she said she has a message for you here, Mitch.
That's so sweet. I'm so sorry I didn't get on in time to see her.
Here she
She's
is.
She's even prettier in person, I have to say.
She's back.
She's back right now. She's
I didn't say that.
Yeah, she's back. We had so much fun meeting you, Mitch, and hearing that you had a ponytail.
No, no,
Vanessa.
no.
All right, you got to explain that one. Come on.
That would have been Laura would have told the story, because when I told you when I would go at the ranch and see the kids, I had long hair and I pulled it back into a ponytail. I have this picture. I don't know. Maybe I could find it. I actually, they stuck me on the cover of Celebrity Magazine, which I didn't really deserve it. But, CC, they loved me because I was like CC Public and blah, blah, blah. And I wonder if I still have it here. Now, anyway, the photo of me on the cover of Celebrity Magazine, you can't see the ponytail, but you can kind of, if I said I had a ponytail, then you go, oh, okay. But yeah, it's one of those things I have to live down. I'll tell you, I'll find a photo of me with it. And
it's quite directory of you.
Sorry?
Quite directory of you.
That's exactly right, Steve-O. And it was like such a cliche that, I was like, one day my hairdresser said, I think we should have shaved it all off. And I said, you're so right. And so I said, yeah, I'm done. I'm totally done. And I was losing my hair and I just, whatever. So, but I've managed to pull it off. So yeah, I didn't want to be one of those guys that had a ponytail that was kind of like a comb over, so, like no way, I'm never going to be that guy. So that's so funny. Where'd she go? Is she coming on or is she just in the chat?
Oh, she's in the chat. I mean,
okay,
she could
fine.
come on.
Well, if you're listening, Vanessa, I think you're prettier in person. And I was so happy to meet you last night.
Vanessa's so pretty. I don't know how she can be prettier in person.
Yeah,
she's so pretty on the internet already.
Yeah, no, because it's her energy. It doesn't come through the camera. The camera's like a piece of glass. It just stops everything.
I love Vanessa.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it can go the other way. People are really boring in person. You meet them and you're like,
oh no, I can tell she's a blast. She's so much fun to talk to.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's a 10, like we say, all around. And anyway, so the show was great, by the way. The screening last night was very successful. There was a good crowd. They did the Q&A. And for me, it was really important because I got to meet those people. I mean, I've seen the film like 10 times because I gave Jeff some editing notes while he was making it because he asked me to. He sent me a copy, and I probably saw that thing like 10 times. So, but it's an amazing film. It's so rare that the people who the thing happened to make a film that personal, right? Usually somebody else makes the film about them, but it's the kind of film that can only be made about the people that it happened to. So it's kind of special in that respect for, it's for whatever else it may be. It's that.
Yeah.
I'm practicing looking in the camera. What's that?
I said I saw Brothers Broken when they did like a 48-hour sneak peek, and you just paid like a couple dollars, and I watched.
They did it online, right?
Yeah.
They need to do that again.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I cried.
So many people want to see it. They did like this film festival online. The first place it was seen, right, was this. I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah, it was. I don't remember, but yeah, it was like
very cool.
$2.99.
Making me blush over in-person hangouts are always the best. Yeah.
Aww.
She also said this earlier.
Yeah.
Well, you made me blush, so.
She said that Laura said she used to hang from your leg when you would visit.
Yeah.
Aw, that is so sweet.
I was being so embarrassed. She was like saying, remember me? I had my little bowl cut and I used to hang onto your leg and it was just crazy. I was just
Laura's stories and pictures too are so emotional.
Yeah, I was about to break into tears. Just it's just amazing. So anyway, that one of the you asked about things that have happened since joining this community, and that definitely was a good one. It's just like out of the blue, she's like, "Mitch, did you know my parents?" I'm like, "What?" So like, no, like, "Hello, my name is Laura." My, no explanation whatsoever. So we figured it all out.
That's excellent.
Well, Mitch, we've got another question here from double tapping myself here. From 8 points of Out R Factor, book update, please. Have you reached the funding goal?
Almost. Last time I looked, I'd almost reached it. It's pretty close. Actually, last time I looked at it, was about $1,400 out of 2,000. So update on the book. I still have to finish. I still have work to do on the second draft before I send it to the book designer to finish off. And then 2 people came out of the woodwork that gave me information that I used to work with, who are no longer in, and their stories are yet to be told. And I'm working on that, but because of what they told me, I have to go back and rewrite 2 short sections because I can't neglect what they told me. It clarified some things and it added some things. So I have to go back. It's only a couple of days' work, so it's like, and then if you want to finish a book, don't go on YouTube. Once you go on YouTube, you get nothing done. So it's a huge distraction, but it's totally worth it. But that's the update.
Janice.
8 points. Thanks for asking. That's the update. I almost made the funding goal, but it doesn't matter. That's not going to stop me. Even if I don't make it by the time we're ready, I've raised. I know somebody else. I'll always could find the money, knowing that I have that out there to come in, because I think whatever I've reached by October, that I just get that. It's not like an all or nothing campaign. So I have enough to do it, and someone will loan me the money knowing that I have. So it's not a problem at all. But I do need to make that whole thing, because I also need to pay for final proofreading. Oh my God, Kelly's here.
I was going to say, you have another friend. I got to tell you, she just texted me. It's 3 a.m. there. And she just texted me. I'm like, hey,
What the
Mitch
hell's
is
going
on.
What's going on, Kelly? What are you doing up? She's probably just getting home from the bars. Right?
It's
Right?
Monday.
Or the pubs, I should say.
She just texted me, answered something I had asked her like 10 hours ago. And I'm like, hey, Mitch is on. Since you're awake, you want to say hi real quick?
Yeah, Kelly was
Wow.
my first, and you'll never forget your first. Literally, she was the first person that interviewed me.
She was the first person that interviewed me too.
Yeah,
She was so, I was so comfortable
Yeah, we're
with
gonna
her.
do. You want to get it? Yeah. So we made Vanessa blush. Should we get to work on Kelly now? Really, she's beautiful. She's talented.
amazing.
She's super talented.
Have you
yeah.
heard her sing? Oh my God, she just blow the roof off.
Yeah,
the place.
I've heard her
She's just-
sing. She's
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
She's
like
amazing.
Well, I'm just going
And
to say
Mark Fisher.
I have not been interviewed yet. So Kelly, if you want to be my first, please.
Oh boy. Of
Yeah.
course.
And by the
Mark
way,
Fisher's in the house. Hello.
Hey, Mark.
Hey
cheers.
Mark, how
Oh,
are you?
nice.
Great to see
Mark
you.
Fisher.
Sorry, now continue. By the way, what do you want to say to Kelly
Mark is in there
Copper that's
too?
inappropriate?
Oh yeah, I'm on with them tomorrow.
Oh,
Awesome.
By the way,
Oh, excellent.
yeah, Mark, he's too shy to mention that, but I'm going to do another.
What
interview.
time?
2:00 PDT, so LA time, 2:00.
2, 3, 4, 5 Eastern?
Yeah, no, Houston? No.
No,
Houston.
5 Eastern?
Oh,
Eastern
Eastern,
there,
yeah.
what are
Yeah,
time?
5 Eastern, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, look, Kelly says, oh my God, you got to put that up.
no bars. Okay. Oh my God,
Chat
guys.
with
Nice.
Oh, you got her to blush. I think Steve-O was blushing too, though, while he was talking
Was I?
I think we're all blushing. Anyway,
about her being your first.
I don't know if Mark
Look who's
heard
talking.
what I said earlier about the reason that I wanted. Actually, I told Janice, and I hope that she
They're
told Mark.
pubs, Destiny. They're pubs.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
And Apostate Alex says, go to bed, Kelly. Look who's talking.
Yeah.
I know.
Alex.
It's 3 a.m. for both of them. They're probably
Yeah.
the only 2 watchers right now from the UK.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Although I
yeah.
don't know what time it is in Australia, but we've got at least a couple of Australians in here
Oh,
too.
it's
So
morning. They're just having
Yeah.
coffee
Oh,
and like,
Lunch.
yeah, a piece of cake. They're just roll. You know, they're at Starbucks.
a little Vegemite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So Evelyn Lee Barney says, geez, I'm just double clicking today. And sorry to embarrass you here, Mitch, but good God, Mitch, just went to the Saks site to look at the t-shirts because I think my son would like one. The least expensive is $155.
Wow.
So I guess
Yeah.
talk about bougie.
Well, now you wonder why I'm broke. So,
Fair.
no, I
Fair.
bought them on sale when they were less than $120, and I have, believe it or not, I have about 5 or 6 of them, and I bought them like 8 years ago when I was rolling in dough. Okay, today I can't even afford to get them dry clean. Okay, like thank God YouTube isn't smell-o-vision, because if you could smell my t-shirts, you would just be completely grossed out. But yeah, they're expensive. I'm shocked that they're $155 now. They're really nice because they're like a really finely knit jersey, cotton jersey, and they're incredibly. I actually look like I'm fit, and I'm like fat and out of shape. So you know that's worth $120. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I was. Yeah, there was a time 10 years ago when I could shop at places like Saks because they were paying me decent money. But you know, if you really love your son, you'll gift him with $150.
Ooh,
You know, if
mic
you really-
drop.
Funny.
Not making friends here.
No, you're all good. Well,
Yeah.
you know, Joni says, remember, we can't torture Mitch tonight. So you got at least one friend there.
You can't?
Yes.
Apparently we can't torture you tonight.
Oh.
No. She said
Can
no
you tell
torture.
my kids that? No. Yeah, okay. But Joni's never tortures me. She's like one of the
She's a
sweetest
sweetheart.
people I've-
Yeah,
Sweet.
she is.
She's
Yeah,
very
I mean-
sweet.
But yeah, thanks, Joni. Thanks. You got my back. So somebody asked me because I put the thing I did the little quiz on my community page. I thought I'd check it out. And so and I put Mexican food, maybe joking, maybe not. And a lot of people were like, yeah, I want to hear about Mexican food. And somebody said, do you cook Mexican food? I do. It's a long story. I'm famous for huevos rancheros. A whole backstory on that.
I love huevos.
Yeah, and I because they're a very regional food. I mean, okay, here goes. I will be doing a video of me making huevos rancheros all the way from making salsa from scratch, making tortillas from scratch, and I'm going to do a video. We'll put it up because the first video I ever did was like during lockdown. I thought I'm going to make a video for social media, so I did like a 9x16 short, which was a juicing video, right? It was really funny. So yeah, I when I was a kid, it's a long story. I used to travel to Mexico a lot with my parents. I used to teach down there during the summer architecture and Mexican history, architecture history. And so between the ages of 8 and 16, I did a lot of trips to, like from Sinaloa, places in Sinaloa, Guadalajara, Acapulco, Mazatlan, Yucatan, a lot of time in Mexico City, Cuernavaca, Guadalajara, all these little villages like Valle del Bravo, and Tosco. And so and I love the food. I really, as a kid, they in these little Mexican villages, they're very safe. They're not like the stuff that you hear about Mexico. And I could wander around by myself, 8, 10 years old, and go to restaurants and get food. And I started to discover that you could order one thing in one place and the same thing in another place, and they were very different. And I discovered regional food. I never knew that there was such a thing. So literally anywhere you went in Mexico, the huevos was different. And so it became a kind of a thing like, oh, I wonder what the huevos is like here. So, yeah, anyway, so that's, then by the time I got into college, that became how, you're on a weekend, you're with your friends and you're drinking and it's 4 a.m. and then everybody's hungry, right? And then you got to eat. Well, I was the guy who would make huevos rancheros for like 14 people, we'd have, tequila sunrises and huevos rancheros. I would do it down and dirty, like just get a tub of salsa, and just like I'm not going to do the whole thing from scratch, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's times when you're not going to go and buy fresh vegetables and char them up and get the blender out and all that stuff. But I'm going to do that for you guys visually. So, but I became, and then on my resume for years, it had all my talents. And then at the bottom, it always said Huevos Rancheros. So it just became a thing. So I'm going to do a video. I just have to find the time. I should finish the book first. I'm going to do like a really nice fast motion, type TikTok-y kind of thing of me, making Huevos Rancheros and then eating it. So, and my presentation is very good. And, and I love making tortillas. It's really hard. If you ever made tortillas, it's like, oof, that is
No idea.
like, you just need corn masa. You can buy it. There's one place on Amazon that sells organic corn masa that's really delicious. That's the white corn meal, that like the flour. And I have a tortilla press, like a cheap one, like most Mexicans would use. And you just make a ball of this stuff. It has to be exactly the right texture. Can't be too wet. It can't be too dry, or it won't work. And it's insane. You get your hands in it, and then you get a ball of it about the size of a golf ball, and you put it between two sheets of wax paper, and you pull the press down, and you get this perfect tortilla, and you throw it on the the griddle, and you cook it up, and it's just like, it's like the aroma is like heavenly. It's like there's nothing like smelling cooking tortillas. So anyway, I'll do the whole thing from salsa from scratch, everything like. And
So Mitch,
yes.
this is Simply Good. I don't know if you know her. She's one of our SPTV cooking channels. She says making tortillas are a pain in the arse.
You guys have a cooking channel?
We have two.
Two of them.
Two.
Yeah. They're great.
Not you guys, us guys. The SPTV as a whole.
SPTV.
Cooking
Yeah.
channels.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I could get in on this, right?
Simply
Yeah.
Good.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they wouldn't disagree. Yeah.
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 It's
Okay, good.
amazing.
Like I could maybe do this in conjunction with the SPTV food channels. I could do my Huevos Rancheros.
Yeah. why
Yeah,
not?
that would be really fantastic. I'm going to see if I can find my one. I'm looking for it right now. My one juice video that I did, just to show you guys that I have some credibility in this area. Because I think you get a big kick out of it. It's basically, I'm very fortunate in that I used to work for this man is the head of Scientology, and he is can be very generous with gifts and likes to do things to show his quote unquote concern for people. And he gave me a what's it called? It's a juicer that cost about $3,000. It's made by what is it called? It's made by a British guy who invented cold press juicing, right? Like there's a guy in the 50s who invented cold press juicing, and my good friend who's the head of Scientology gave me this juicer because he was worried about my health. So I used it to make a video. So I was real big into cold press juicing, which is, by the way, is really, really good for it. And I did this video. I don't know if I can play it because it has music from copyrighted music. I don't think that's not good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. I'll get dinged. I didn't get dinged. Well, no, I don't know where I put it before. You know what? I could play it and turn the sound off because you don't need sound.
Right. That's fine.
The music is fantastic. It really works great with the music. Let me just go into my movies folder, and I did it. Yeah, Juice Final. Okay, here it is. We're in luck. I just have to move it from one computer to another. Let me see. Where is that airdrop? I always lose that thing.
So while you're looking for that, I just wanted to acknowledge we already put the chats up on the screen, but Seneca says Simply Good. She says she'd like to do a light with you about that. So maybe Sin, maybe you can contact Mitch and you guys can.
Oh yeah,
link
what
up.
is that? What? Oh, she says she's Mexican. Is that her? I'm Mexican. I
No,
can't
no.
make tortillas. Oh. Oh yeah. No,
Sinfully
put
good.
the one up. Put the one up you're talking about. I missed it.
I just didn't want to go ahead and do your thing. She just said that I should love to.
Oh darling,
Here.
I would like to do a live with you making those.
Yep.
Yeah, I won't do it live. Well, I won't do it live.
No?
Nope, because
But she says, "Come talk to me."
sometimes it's a total disaster. But maybe
Okay.
that's a
She's so
good-
much
maybe-
fun. She's a
maybe-
lot of fun to talk to. That you can just
Maybe
talk
But
that's
you
a
to
good
guys
her.
should
reason.
link up.
Yeah, maybe that's a good reason to do it live. I'm going to order some more of this masa. I just threw one away because it was out of date, but I'm going to order more corn masa tonight so that I have some. And we should hook up and we'll do this live. Yeah, that would be great to make tortillas. My kid who I live with, he's going to be fucking thrilled because he loves this shit. Like when the house fills full of that smell of corn masa cooking, it's like I can die here.
She said, "Okay, Mitch, we can just talk about it." LOL.
No, I have to. We have to actually. I'll set my phone up or a camera up in my kitchen, and we'll actually do it. It'll be hysterical.
Yeah.
I think I can do. Yeah, I can move my gear around. It's just I'll figure it out. We'll do it, or at least
right.
I'll shoot a video of me making tortillas so that I can get it right and edit it to get all the boring parts out, and then we can do like a reaction video to my making fixture.
That works
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that might be a little bit better. You never know. No, I'm excited. Because I actually there's a number of things I cook. I found a company in Sonoma up in the wine country in California that does what are called heirloom beans. Heirloom, the finest hand-picked. They make all different kind of beans, and they do pinto beans and black beans. Maybe a couple of bucks more a pound for theirs. Unbelievable. The most exquisite pinto beans. So, I do like refried beans, and I do I think my favorite, most complex thing to cook is enchiladas suizas, which is enchiladas made with a tomatillo sauce and cream. It's a tomatillo sauce cream sauce, and that's complicated because it takes half a day just to make the tomatillo sauce. So before you can even start to make the enchiladas. So. But this is, I really went to town on it during lockdown, like everybody else. I became a lockdown chef. One of these days I'll get this in here.
Yeah, while Mitch is taking
Oh.
care of that, just a reminder to the 110 people that are viewing right now, hit that like button, and depending on what channel you are, swing on over to all 5 of our channels.
Yeah,
And click-
open up some tabs, people.
Yeah, get those like buttons clicked, and
Yeah.
subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Also, just a reminder, and it's probably we're already deep into this, but why don't you finish off watching the rest of the show from Juliana's channel? Juliana's looking for the watch hours here.
Yeah,
She's next on our list. So
Yep.
if you're on mine or Marilyn's or Chad's, swing on over and hang on Juliana's for the remainder of the show. But
And
yeah,
I just
we-
like to thank
Description.
I just like to thank everyone who sent me super chats tonight. We haven't gotten to read them, but thank you so much. I was monetized today, so I've got a bunch of little super
Yay!
chats. So thank you, everybody. So excited.
Well, you
Thanks.
deserve it. I mean, I think you've created added on with your craft of like what do they call it, like value added stuff to other
Thank you
people's
so
stuff
much.
that's helped them to get monetized. So
Thank you,
there's,
Lori.
like I always say,
It's
karma
great.
is fair if you believe in karma, but you have good karma.
Thank you so much.
Look at Chad's heart. Chad's heart. I love Chad's heart.
Chad's hard.
Freezing New
Uh,
Project says, Mitch, I hope your back feels better soon.
How did you know my back was effed up?
I don't know. FXP.
Did
I
you
must
mention
Maybe I
it?
said
mentioned it.
something. I might have mentioned it. I've had a bad back since I think I really did some stupid shit in my 20s in terms of like wiping out skiing and other things like that. So
Thank you,
It's just
Joni.
like-
You're so sweet.
I live with it. Okay, I'm going to show my juice video,
Okay.
but I have to figure out how to mute it. So don't let this play. Okay. Let me see.
Okay. I think if you just share, I think we still have to add it to the stream.
Yeah, okay, there it is. I'm adding it to this. I'm adding it. It's not going to automatically go in, but
Okay, so let me see
so,
if I can.
yeah, no, I can turn the sound all the way off. Okay, the sound is now
Okay,
all the way up. Here-
okay.
Yeah, can
All
you
right.
let that in? I don't know that
Yep.
I can do it. Yeah,
Yeah, I can
you
do
got to see the beginning. No, back it up. You got. Oh, only I can do that. Here it is from
No,
the
I can-
beginning. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, but there's music. There's music. There's music.
Oh shoot, no,
Okay,
but
there's
I
not anymore?
completely I muted it.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
It's my Walker juicer.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So
That looks
I love it.
It's good.
fancy.
Wow.
yeah, so that was it.
Love it.
It was really good with the music. So
Yeah.
It's very good.
yeah,
So
so
that
that
we
was
can
my
play with
my
the music.
first, and it was really funny because when I did that, my younger son, who's a film editor, he was working for Will Smith's social media company, editing social media stuff, and so I sent it to him, and he says, "Wow, you figured out the formula." So I was really complimented by that because that's all he did all day long, which is edit stuff for social media. So
All right.
It's excellent.
yeah, so I was really
Great.
complimented. So
Are you on TikTok?
no, I occasionally put things on TikTok, but I kind of just on principle. I think I probably put that on. I think I did that for Instagram. I'm really down on TikTok. I don't like the platform. I don't like the people that own it. I don't particularly want to help the Chinese Communist government.
Fair enough.
You know, that's just
Fair enough.
they're human rights abusers, and basically TikTok. You know, they're owned by a red Chinese company, and they're just not good people. Interesting. If you guys know about Book Talk, have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've
No.
heard about that from Liz Gale, but briefly.
Yeah, but basically, Book Talk is a kind of a new feature of TikTok. There are a huge number of authors who have sold mostly fantasy and romance books, like self-published authors. And there's such an active part of TikTok, and these creators have made so much money that, of course, TikTok says, how can we cash in on some of this? So they've started a publishing company. The parent company of TikTok will now publish your book, which means it's just another way of ripping people off. So it's like, because they're not going to give people good deals. Like, you're much better off publishing your book through Amazon. Not that they're that great, but it's, it's good. And just publishing it however you self-publish and then putting it on TikTok. But you can do this thing now where you can publish it through TikTok's publishing company, and then obviously they'll make sure that they game the system for you so that you get lots of promotion. So I'm not supporting it. I'll put my book on there when it's published. And I mean, the most help I've gotten is from, like, I started making shorts. And by the way, if you don't know it, I was like really like, not that I have that many users, but I did get monetized in 28 days. That's really good. It's not a record. I think Reese broke the world
Yes.
record. I heard she monetized in 2 days, which it's hard for me to believe that, but that's even possible.
Yeah, 48 hours.
Yeah, that's really hard to believe. That I mean, yeah, but you can't do that on your own. You need like major fucking support. You need
Yep.
So, but we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, but the thing that really helped push me over the past that, right? And I guess I'm at 2.75 subscribers now, and it took me 28 days to get 4K watch hours. It took me 4 more days to double it again and get another 4K. The thing that put it over the top is I started doing shorts. The first couple of videos I did, I went through and I pulled a bunch of shorts, and then I'm still looking through my interviews for little quick statements. And as soon as I did that, I looked at the analytics, and all of a sudden, 40% of the people that found my channel were from shorts. So it's
Wow.
like,
Yep, I found the same thing. Yep.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The shorts is phenomenal. Plus, YouTube, from what I understand from the research I've done right now, that recently they changed the algorithm to help boost small channels, because it's not good for YouTube if they slowly morph into this where there's like 10 channels that all have over 15 million views, and that's how they make all their money.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They don't want that, because eventually that'll put them out of business. So now they kind of re-rigged the whole thing to, like, if you're a little teeny channel and somebody watches one of your shorts and then watches another, they instantly recognize that and go, oh, cool. And they start throwing your shit out there, because they figure if your stuff is good enough for someone to then watch something else. Have you heard about this? Have you been tracking with this, as we say in Scientology?
A little bit.
Tracking.
Yeah.
Not for me, not to that level, but what I've been just, when I do a live, like on the road, if I do like a waterfalls series, I'll do the live, I'll do a video, and I'll do a short. I'll try to do that every day.
Yeah, that's incredibly helpful. Okay, just a quick warning. I have an 8 o'clock hard out. So, and if it wasn't for that,
Okay.
I'd probably end up doing one of these 3-hour marathons with you guys.
4 hours, 5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, like whatever. Wait, I have another.
We're
time
happy to
to
have you
just
that long.
Get through Mitch's
Some
comments
questions?
and questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, then we should probably hit this one, which I don't know what it
Which one?
means, but Joni says, that reminds me, at Mitch Brisker, there was a story I was to remind you to tell one of your stories.
Yeah, well, yeah, as a trauma survivor, I don't have that much, memory functioning to remember what that was. There was I remember that what I remember, Joni? I remember telling you to remind me to tell a story. That's all I remember. So I'm sure but thanks, Joni. I'm sure it'll come back.
Very good.
Question, Mitch. Do you need an external mixer for that Rode mic? If so, what do you use?
I don't use a mixer. I absolutely use a, obviously you need a USB interface, which should have a good preamp in it. That's the most important thing. The other day I was on with Aaron. He has the industry standard Shure. I think you're using that, Steve-O. You have that. What is that number on that mic?
Oh, he's got the USB version. I've got the one. I've got
it's the
an
same one.
external preamp here.
Yeah. So if you're
I have
using an XLR,
Aaron's mic.
yeah, and it's an XLR mic, right? Right.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a MV7 and it's USB. Mine's
There's a USB version of that.
There
I
is
didn't
roughly.
one Aaron
yeah,
has. I have.
Yeah, because
Sorry,
my
I'll,
mic
I'll
is
stay out of it.
like my mic is. Notice my mic's pretty far from my mouth.
Yeah.
And then everybody with the Shures, which is this mic costs $99. The Shure is like what, $350, $400, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody with the Shure is like this, but I'm like this, and it sounds great. And so the other day, I mean, this mic is like mic is like about 90%. I think the quality of the Shure for a quarter, third the money, right? Because I think Rode priced this to compete against the Shure. They're like, screw them. And also people that want to do podcasts with multiple mics, like 4 people on a podcast. I mean, you can get 4 of these for the price of one Shure, so it's a great deal.
No,
And so Aaron asked me on the air, he said, how come you're like so far from your mic and it sounds better than mine? The only reason I can think of is this. What can I get it on camera? This is my preamp. Okay. And I tested a bunch of them. 2 of them worked really well. I like the form function on this one a lot. It's the Wave.
You like the Elgato?
Yes, Elgato Wave XLR has a this one, and who's the people that do the Scarlett? That company? Whatever it is, those 2 for the money. Because remember, I had to look at a really budget, like not super budget, because like if you buy a $50, one, you're just going to hate it. It's just going to make your mic sound horrible. This one, I don't think it was more than $100, but I can promise you, this one has a great
I found that one for me, that I don't know. I was finding a bit of a lack of clarity. So I've got the Vocaster one with one of those little dynamite.
yeah, yours sounds really good.
Good.
Really good. Yeah, no,
Okay,
yours sounds
wonderful.
fine. But I think Aaron's using I think he's using a kind of
His is straight USB. His just is a USB cord that plugs in.
Oh, with no interface, no preamp. Well, yeah, he needs a preamp. That's why his mic doesn't sound so good.
Yeah.
I mean, he noticed it. I didn't notice it because.
Oh, but it does though. Listen
What's
to
that?
my mic.
What's that?
It
Say
does
it again?
sound good. Listen to my mic.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're not.
I don't have a mic.
Yeah,
I
you
have
do.
this.
But there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to get it a little closer to your mouth.
I
Hang
have
it on
this.
your glasses so it just kind of hangs down.
Swallow it.
You'll look really dorky and you'll sound better.
Yeah.
And with your look,
How do I sound?
Oh, perfect.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
How do
You
I
can hear-
look?
Perfect.
You can't hurt your look. Leanna, you're beautiful. You're stunning. That couldn't even do it. There you go. Now you did it. But you don't need an external. This is a no for this Rode mic. No, I really like this mic. If I had the dough, I would swap it out for sure and just save this if I ever had a guest. But I'm very happy with the combo of the Rode and the Wave XLR. But yeah, you proved the point, Steve-O. You need a decent preamp.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a XLR or USB.
I was actually disappointed because I've got the Elgato Stream Deck. I love the Elgato products.
Yeah.
And so when I grabbed that, I went, oh yeah, this is going to work just fine, and plugged it in. And I don't know what it was, but it just came out more distorted than, and I had already purchased the Vocaster and tried it and liked it. So I went back to it, but it's the one thing that just didn't work for me, but it sounds great for you. So
Yeah, it works. Oh, you tried the Wave XLR?
I did.
Well, yeah, it might just also be that it's a different mic. I mean, yeah, I like Elgato stuff. I also have their Cam Link, which I use for my Nikon. But I will tell you, they have this. I'm never going to be sponsored by Elgato, that's for sure. After I say this, they made this thing. It's called the Streamer X. It's like their latest product, and they combine a 4K capture card with an audio interface and a control service for $300, right? So you can plug your mic in it, you can plug your camera in it, and you have some buttons for controls, right?
Yeah.
And I bought it. I was very excited because it was a little bit more than buying those things separately. And I plugged it in. And my camera does 1080p and at 30 frames and lower, which is totally fine. I don't need any more than that.
Right.
And this new Rode device that everybody raves about will not take 1080p. They made it only for the newest equipment, 4K and above. And I sent it back. I was so pissed. So anyway, I don't like combining. I don't like combo things. Like I have a separate router and separate modem because if one goes down, if one goes down, they both go down.
Right.
Like so I don't like that kind of equipment anyway. That I think it's just when you're doing something mission critical. And ladies and gentlemen, is this not mission critical? Us gas bagging on YouTube. This is as mission critical as it gets. You want to make sure you have rock solid equipment.
Well, that part's 100% true.
Oh, and everything else I said is bullshit. Thank you, Steve-O. I appreciate the vote of confidence. No, yeah. I know what you meant. I know that you didn't mean it that way.
No, not at all. No, I'm kidding. I'm
we
totally
love,
kidding.
Yeah, we love your stories.
Yeah, well, get them while they last because I'm not a bottomless pit.
Just
I
scanning,
don't know. It's probably not true. I probably am.
scanning the questions here. Gina Marie is telling us or asking us. Laura FM has a gig in LA this Friday, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go for sure. Are you kidding? I got to try to get her to hang out on my leg again.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, it's in West Hollywood, not far from where I live. So I would love to go see her show.
No, that'd be cool. If I ever get back to LA, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I hear she just has a blast. So it's definitely something to.
Oh yeah, I'm positive.
Question, Mitch. What is the most amazing special effects person you worked with, and in what way?
Oh wow. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess it was those guys that I worked with in the early days when I just gotten out of college. Richard Edlund was a giant, incredibly talented guy. He went on to found a company. I can't think of the name of his company. Somebody could look it up. But he won an Oscar for Star Wars, his work on Star Wars Episode 4, the first one. I don't know what he worked on after that. But he also did all the Ghostbusters, every single one of them. He won, I think he won Oscars for all of them or was nominated. And then he also did that film, the sequel to 2001, I think it was called 2020.
2010.
2010.
Roy
2020.
Scheider and John
Yeah,
Lithgow.
I thank you. Very, very good.
Oh,
You're
and
on
Helen
my,
Mirren.
yeah,
Helen
you're on,
Mirren.
yeah, you are on, Steve-O, you are on my Trivial Pursuits film trivia team.
Bring it.
Yeah, you are first choice. Yeah, so he did 2010.
Okay.
And what else? Richard did a ton of stuff. Richard was an absolute genius. And I don't know if you remember this. Do you guys remember in the 70s? I just said that to a bunch of Gen X's or whatever. A little amp, a little portable amp. It might still be around, called the Pig Nose amp. Very famous. It was a little amp with it looked like had a nose on it like a pig. It was
Hence the name, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, exactly. It was iconic. Like guitarists would use it as a preamp on stage with Marshalls, or they could use it in their hotel room to practice with. This guy Richard Edlund also was a guitar player, and he invented the Pig Nose amp. Like he literally, because he was a special effects and camera fanatic, and he was an inventor. He used to take a Fender guitar on location with him, and he built a small amp into the accessory box of the amp of the guitar case. You know, you have a hard shell guitar case, and then the case has a little accessory box. He built an amp in there and had a jack on the outside with a little speaker. And then he turned that into this portable amp. And the guy was amazing. He made a ton of money on that. There was another guy I worked with, Robert Ailes, who, designed the package and did all the advertising. But that was, I think Richard was one of the more amazing people. A guy who was my teacher at CalArts, who I just should shout out to, was a guy named Pat O'Neill, who taught me how to do optical effects. And he made he made experimental films on the optical printer, and he probably taught half the people who worked on Star Wars. He actually did a little work on it, but he was not, he used the optical printer to paint with. So Pat was an amazing artist. But I don't know, other than that, it was just people in the early days. I'm going to see if I can find you something.
Sure. Well, you're grabbing that. I'm going to answer, is Vegemite, this from the wonderful Kelly Copter, is Vegemite the same as Marmite? Yes.
Unfortunately, I'm
Yes
going
and
to just
no,
answer
right?
for you.
Yeah.
I think they're both made as a byproduct of beer. They're made from the yeast leftover of beer.
Right.
Really?
Vegemite, Marmite, which is the British one, is made what is the Irish beer company? Come on, I'm brain dead.
Which
The
one,
famous
Guinness?
Huh? Guinness.
Guinness?
Yeah. The stuff that's left over from Guinness, the waste product, they use that shit to make Marmite.
Right.
One of my kids, I don't want them to hear it, but one of my kids just really loved that stuff and had a jar of it. And then one of his friends put a Post-it on it in the kitchen cabinet, and the Post-it said, "Tastes like ass." So it wasn't a big popular item here.
I think the Marmite tastes like ass. The Vegemite's a little bit better, and I think that's because Marmite comes from Guinness, which thicker, darker.
Right.
And I'm going to assume that Vegemite comes from Foster's, which is a little bit lighter. I don't know. I'm making this up, but it's a little. They're definitely the same, but there's a difference. If you do a taste test, they're definitely different things.
Well, I would take a Guinness over a Foster's any day.
Well, in that case, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
This is just not. We've just started a war that's never going to end.
People are saying here, Vegemite is better. Marmite is better. But Stephen Britton has the answer. He says Vegemite and Marmite are not the same, but both are vile.
But
Yeah.
both are vile. There you go.
Yeah,
There
the
you go.
thing about Vegemite and Marmite is it's controversial. It's all or nothing. It's love or hate. It's nobody will ever say, yeah, I kind of like it. It's okay. It's that you're never going to hear that ever.
Either love or hate it.
Yeah, it's either you think it's great or it's worse. You know, there's a lot of Australians at Gold, and obviously you could tell who they were. I mean, in the dining room there, which is huge, you could go around and on the tables, people would leave their condiments nicely, arranged in the middle of the table. Some tables you'd see Vegemite, some tables you'd see Marmite. Because there were a lot of obviously Brits and Australian people that worked there.
Wow.
Don't know why that was, but there was probably the biggest cohort of non-Americans was probably British and Australian.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a reminder as we get close to the end of Mitch's time here, you can help Mitch get published by going to Indiegogo.com. You can read the link's in chat. But it's Project Scientology -the-big-lie hashtag. Mitch is raising some of the final money to get some things taken care of in that book and get that book out to all of us.
Yeah. I mean, by the time it comes out, you're going to already have read it because I'm telling you everything that's in it. But
It's all good.
at least you'll get it in the written literary sense.
And then we all get to wait and harp on him to get the audiobook recorded.
Yeah, I'm going to do that immediately. I have to answer
Cool.
that Andy Fabulous said he wants to know if we ever use bullet mics, and I believe on the set at Gold, I believe those are a type of what do you call those? Like a lavalier kind of mic. And yeah, we did. Those are a personal mic you'd hang in a person. I think we did, but mostly we used some Shure mics made by Shure and some very, very expensive shotgun mics. I mean, they spared no expense. There's a podcast space at SMP. I told you six mics, 3 facing 3 in a room that you could put cameras in and do YouTube videos, and a control room next to it that an engineer could control the audio. And those 6 mics, they're probably $5,000 each. Those mics. And that room has never been used. They've never been turned on. It's just sitting there because they were thinking they were going to do content like people, journalists, Scientologists were sitting around and actually telling you the truth about it all, and like they were going to create organic following, and they were going to do all this stuff, but it's not possible because it's just not. So I'm going to talk about that at some point, about the $100 million failure of Scientology Media Productions, because it was never originally intended to be what it is, which is just a bunch of infomercials 24/7. That's not what the plan was. It was intended to be, a real media outlet that was going to look at the world and expose its crimes, and investigate. It's supposed to be like Freedom Magazine on TV, and it's nothing like that because it's not. But I'm going to talk about that at some point. So, hey guys, it's 8:00, and I have to.
You do. Yeah.
Can we just do 2 quick super chats for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mitch, when's your next?
please.
Okay, just because I want to get the super chats for you out there.
Please, thank
Mitch,
you.
This is from Destiny Salazar. When is your next Hollywood Squares stream?
I don't
all
know. Oh,
in.
you know what? Maybe I'll plan one because that was a lot of fun. You guys, I think you
That
guys
was
were all
great.
there, right? You guys were all there.
I was
Yeah, I saw
listening.
that. That
Yeah,
was
you kind of
cool.
wilted towards the end, Juliana.
I think I nodded off about 2:30 or 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it was real He-Man stuff. That was like,
That's hardcore.
yeah, that was really hardcore. But yeah, we'll do it again. Thanks for reminding me. We'll definitely do that.
There was maybe one more. Skipper, the geriatric Chihuahua. Congrats. Are there any other religions that have tried to gatekeep or inform others of what COS is?
What do you mean by?
I mean, I take this
Are there
to
any other
mean that
religions that have tried to gatekeep?
inform others.
No, what do you mean other
Yeah.
religions? I don't know that any religions have tried to gatekeep or inform.
I
I'm
other
confused.
religions come out in favor. Well, some other religions have come out to defend Scientology because they don't want that slippery slope thing of supposedly if they're a religion and they have some
No,
restraint and
nobody,
they're threatened.
nobody. The Mormons are really friendly to Scientology. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I told the story about how a bunch of us went up to BYU TV before we opened S&P, and they gave us a tour, and they're very friendly, but they're friendly to everybody. No, I mean, there was a time when Heber was active, Heber Judge as the president, when he came out and spoke on behalf of like Moonies and what do they call it, the Hare Krishnas, you know, because Scientology was trying to take this leadership role saying,
To help people get out.
you know, these people have a right to do this and blah, blah, blah. And so he was, boy, look at, hey, wow. Did Chad's set is propagating. These scary animals
Yeah.
are
Isn't it
propagating.
good? Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, notice my 5 typewriters in the background, Mitch.
Well, I think the Chad doll and the Gumby got together and had a Bill doll. Okay, hold on. This was, no, I didn't. There's a
Danger
question. You
Man
want to read
5.
that question?
Sure. Danger Man 5 asks, Mitch, did you direct the 1990 Scientology music video, We Stand Tall? I found it amazing to see all the people who later left singing away.
Yeah, we should actually open a show
Hey,
with us
na,
singing
hey,
"We
na,
Stand Tall."
hey,
Nah,
na.
Shayna, we. No, I didn't
We
actually.
stand
I
tall.
think
And
that
they're all
was
staring at the monitor.
Yeah.
no. I did not direct that. It was done right before I got there. So here's what happened. They did
Oh.
"We Stand Tall," and then I didn't work there yet. I was actually on when they shot it. It was like at the end of '89, and it was released, I think, as a Christmas thing or something. And I was with my my future wife and then future former wife. We were on a vacation somewhere, and we had answering machines back then, right? And I kept getting these messages from Gold. I never worked for them. I had done all those Dianetics ads, and I had shot some footage for a Dianetics seminar, but I did that all for marketing in LA, and I'd never been to Gold. It was done through my production company for the marketing unit in Los Angeles. And so I was off on this vacation, and I kept getting these calls, which I didn't answer. They kept going to my answering machine. They had a little tape in them. It was like 1989. And they left so many messages that the tape filled up, and my machine stopped taking messages. And it was just every 15 minutes, Mitch calls, this is Go, we need to talk to you, we need to talk to you. Because I had some footage that I'd shot for a Dianetics seminar. They needed that footage to cut into We Stand Tall. It was into a montage. And I should have taken that as such a red flag that they literally wouldn't stop calling. Like they burned through a 90-minute tape in my answering
Wow.
machine.
Whoa.
They just would not stop, right? And then I finally got back to them. It wouldn't have mattered if I called them because I couldn't have gotten the footage before I got home. So I got home, I called them, and then just in time I got them the footage. So they cut it into one of the montages. Then they were all busted. The entire shoot crew was banished to the galley, and they were not allowed to go near their equipment. And Miscavige forbid them from, I mean, whatever. He kept them like they were sort of on a kind of like an RPF kind of thing. And they got me up there, and then they were let out to make a film with me, and the film went incredibly well. So
Wow.
a lot of those people are gone, and so the people that are there now, they don't remember the old time history. So I started being treated really badly after a while, because it was like they didn't really like some of the people that I worked with in the early 90s, they left after a few years. I mean, Jackson knows the story. He and I have talked about it. And some of these people, including, his wonderful former wife that he lost as a part of his exit, which I think he's talked about that. She even reached out to me. Some of these people, the ones who reach out to me are all very successful. They're doing really well. They have families and marriages, and a couple of them had really top, successful careers in media. One of them was a commercial producer. She went on to do, work for Nike and all kind of big high-end stuff. And they called me to thank me. They said, working with you and what we learned, and I would hear this stuff. You gave us the courage and the confidence to leave and know that we could have careers and stuff. It was crazy. And now I'm just a broken down old director, and I'm broke. But I do have, that's my legacy, is that I helped these guys in the early days. I don't know what question we were answering, but that was.
Oh, just about We Stand Tall.
Oh yeah, so I didn't do that. And when I
Yeah.
did get up there, that's the one that I refer to it as the bad sweater video, right?
Yeah.
The one,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
very
so.
very Cosby sweater. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, bad sweater video.
That's-
Not long once I did a film up there, they thought, "Ooh, maybe he could do some cool shit for our events." So we call them song videos, not music videos.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one I did was called "We Are the Auditors," and that was really crazy. That was like a music video. It was very MTV-ish, and I had a song called "We Are the Auditors," right? We are the auditors, and I did some stuff. I rented the Riverside, the City Hall. They wouldn't do LA City Hall because it was too expensive. Riverside has this beautiful City Hall with a white interior and huge arches and huge long hallways, so you could put like a very strong hard light at one end and fill the place full of smoke, and then have people walk in front of it and they have beams shooting through them, and it was all very heroic. And I had them walking in slow motion carrying their meter cases. That is the signature look for presenting auditors in these fantasy situations, which I did in 1990, and they still do it. It's like there's all these, like, I created this visual iconography of Scientology that stuck forever. And I wrote about it in my book because it's not that different. Now you guys are making me late. It's okay. It's kind of similar to what's called socialist realism, which was the art of the Soviet Union, where they would glorify these workers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They would have these. You can look up Soviet socialist realism, and you'll see this beautiful art, and it was kind of reflected in Red Chinese art. It's like the Socialist Party's art. And I'm not. This is nothing against socialism, believe me, but it was a communist thing, and so I've related the work that I did there as the corollary of socialist realism. I was just swapping out the workers for the auditors, but in terms of that, that mighty, powerful, the workers will, take over the world. I created this iconography that was similar to socialist realism. I did it with those song videos, and I did it also with IAS imagery. For the IAS events, I would shoot these things, and then later I wrote about it as being like this kind of communist artwork, because you're just glorifying these people and making them look, you're taking little people and making them look like heroes. Whatever. To me, that shit's really interesting. So
It's not very different.
Huh?
The propaganda, it's not very different. The
It's no different.
propaganda that
That's
making
exactly-
people believe that they're doing the greatest good for the greatest number of
No,
dynamics.
it's actually, and the other thing that it does is it gets everybody on the same page.
Hmm.
Everybody is on the same, the workers unite,
Right.
Hmm. Yeah,
So yeah,
Yeah.
I did that. I created,
it's very
so
interesting
I'm just going to
reference.
show you one thing. Hold on one second. This is.
Let the
okay.
record show that we are not holding Mitch back.
I was just
No,
going
this
to
is
say,
me.
I was
I'm
going to
doing
say,
the-
while he's pulling that up, I just a one-word answer to this question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Japan of Green Gables is teaching 12 Angry Men this semester.
Whoa.
Should he show Sidney Lumet's version or William Friedkin's version?
Oh, if he doesn't show the Sidney Lumet is the original black and white.
Yes.
12 Angry Men, one of my favorite films. I use that film to teach film at Gold. And if he shows the
Oh,
other
so
one,
good.
he should just kill himself right now. As far as I'm concerned, no, seriously. I mean, that
There you
would
go.
be a tragedy.
You
There's
heard
some
it here
movies.
first.
There's some movies that should have.
How do you really
never-
feel, Mitch?
Never been remade. Yeah, agreed.
There's some movies that should never be remade, and 12 Angry Men is one of them. I mean, if you don't see Henry Fonda's portrayal, his performance in that film,
Yeah,
you're really
100%.
missing something. I mean,
So
that is,
good. The original
yeah,
one
it's
is
so
just
I
such
can't
a-
even. Yeah, who asked that question?
It's Japan
I
of
have a
Green Gables.
non-scientific related film question. I'm teaching 12 Angry Men this semester. Okay, Japan of Green. I'm sorry, I was actually a rude thing I say to you. You're here, you're supporting us. If you want, email me at, Scientologythebiglie@gmail.com. We can have a further discussion about this and about, because I'm curious how you're using that film to teach, why you're using that particular film. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great film, but I'm curious how that fits into your syllabus, that's kind of on the lineup. I'm all for it. That's a great film, but I don't know what to say. Fuck Friedman. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to say anything else. So I'm just going to show you one thing real quick before I let me see if I can do this without. Okay, first of all, I just got to show you. This is hold on. I'm now sponsored by Guitar Center. That's the legendary Pig Nose amp. Okay, that Richard Edlund, who won an Oscar for Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Nice.
He invented that. Okay.
That is a pig nose.
Yeah, it's a little amp and it's portable and it sounded amazing. Okay, so let me see if I can actually get back to the stream. And then the other thing I wanted to just show you, because I think you get a kick out of this, I just wanted to show you an example. Can you see this?
Oh,
Are you seeing this? Okay, this is no different than the art that I created for the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm telling you, this is the vibe. This is the vibe of the stuff that I did for events and song videos and blah, blah, blah.
It's amazing.
So, yeah, that's...
I like it as an art expression.
Of course you do.
But,
why wouldn't you? It's beautiful. I mean...
Yeah, but when you know what's the psychological manipulation that's behind it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Somehow I bumped myself out of the stream. I don't know. Oh, I know what I did. Never mind. I'm good. There I am. Okay. Yeah, I could talk to you guys about this all night. I want to finish up with Andy Fabulous. Could you just put that up on there? The one that he says, are you used? No. No, he says, Mitch, he was talking about the bullet mics I used for long distance recording. They were used one time recording DM and it was horrible. Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that was like a failed experiment. So they tried a lot of crazy stuff with.
I don't know if I can find it.
Yeah, it was a bit ago. It was at 8 p.m. So it was 14 minutes ago.
I found this one.
It was like 8 p.m. So it was a bit ago.
Here, found it.
Yeah, okay. So this was in reference to the bullet mics. They were used at one time in recording DM. So I guess this guy worked at Gold in the audio department, I'm assuming. Come on and join us. We want to see your face. No, I understand. It picked up Dave with clarity along with every sound between Dave and the back of the room. Yeah, okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I don't remember that we ever used them on the set. We rarely used lavaliers, and we rarely used radio mics because we were so concerned with getting super, super, super high quality mic. I mean, I can't tell you the number of shots that were blown on. Oh, yes, and a stagehand also. Thank you for letting us know, Andy. I can't tell you how many shots I had blown on my set. Because the boom guy, the balancer as he's called, just dipped his mic into the fucking frame. So it's just like, you just don't. In Hollywood they just always keep it far enough away, and that rarely ever happens. You don't get good sound, but at Gold, that guy, because remember he can be sent to the RPF for getting crappy sound, and he's not going to get sent to the RPF for making you make another take because you screwed it up. Wow. Okay, so he's going to tend to. Dip his mic like you see this, right? All of a sudden the actor moves and you see this, my finger, whoa, and you're like, cut. So it's like, anyway, he was a good guy, but I used to give him so much shit for yeah, anyway, those are other stories. Speaking of which, at some point, Headley and I, when his schedule frees up, we're going to go on and he wants to do some making ofs. He says he remembers that we worked together on 31 productions. I don't, my brain is not that plastic that I could remember that. So, I mean, I remember working. Yeah, I remember working on hundreds, but I don't remember the specific 31 that I worked on with Mark.
Wow.
It'd be really fun because Mark he was a hoot because, anyway, whatever. He's a very funny guy, and he was very helpful, shall I say, as a shoot crew, what we call a shoot crew chief, which is it's a job that doesn't exist in Hollywood. It's kind of a hybrid job, assistant director, unit production manager, combined into one, and it's not a good way to organize film. It's one of Hubbard's where he deviated from the norm in the way you organize film production that was very complicated and that you could never change because it was Hubbard. So
Right.
because they would have a shoot, like they never had a production manager, they never had a assistant director. So those two functions were missing. But then they had this guy who was the shoot crew chief who would run the crew, right? Who would sort of be responsible for running the crew. The problem is that a production manager is the first person that a producer calls, and that's who basically does the budget, right? So you have this continuity from pre-production into production via the unit production manager, and sometime he even become the post-production supervisor. They did this thing where they'd hand off from pre-production to production to post-production. So a lot of things would become lost in the handover, and it would make shooting very chaotic. But 20 some years of having that battle, I kind of gave up. So that's it for me.
Frustrating.
And it's
Thanks very much.
it's so great being with you guys. Always
Awesome.
great being with you
Thank
guys.
you very much.
Thank you so much. It was
Yeah, and
fantastic.
I'll see you
Yeah.
soon. And I'll be on with, thank you everybody for watching a few super chats. You guys are amazing. And I'll be on with Mark and Janice tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. And
Nice.
I got some other stuff planned and whatever. And somewhere I got to finish a book in there.
We'll be watching, we'll be chatting, or we'll be lurking.
Yeah,
but
we'll be in the chat.
we're around.
Oh, great. Okay. See you
For
soon.
sure. See you soon.
Nice.
Good night, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch.
Night.
Guys,
Next.
I think I'm gonna hop on Mitch's leave and go too, because it's already past
Okay, honey.
midnight here, and I'm trying to fix that schedule. I'm gonna let you guys
Yeah,
get
we'll
on with
just
the rest
wrap
of the
up.
show,
Okay.
and
Yeah, let's
Sure.
get the comments.
go
Good night,
over
honey.
the there's a lot of super chats and things. Marilyn, congratulations on being
Thank you so
monetized.
much.
Yay.
Thank you
Good
so
night
much,
to
honey.
all. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Julie.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Jules.
Hey, Julie. Ah, a heart. Whoa.
Whoa.
Brr. Brr.
How do we
Brr.
fix that?
The one next to it. The one next to it. That one.
Oh, that's much better.
That works. That works.
Much
Very
better.
We could do this.
All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah, we got a question for him.
Oh,
Well,
perfect.
let's see.
For Chad.
Did I find a telex yet? Not yet. No, it's on my list of things to do.
Good deal.
All right. This is so funny. Chad's in
weird
the
like this.
spotlight. Nice.
Get back there. There we go. Okay, that's
There
much
we go.
better.
All right,
So we
these-
do have a couple more, I think, super chats to address and a few other things. First things first. Here's to 10xing Marilyn's channel. She's the cool auntie of
Aw,
SPTV.
thank you,
Yeah.
Destiny. I hope you're still with us. It's been a couple hours since you sent this, but
True.
thank you so much, honey. I really appreciate that.
Of course, the wild and crazy Angela Bernhardt says,
love
"Evening.
you, Angela.
Just got here, sending Marilyn some love and congratulations on being monetized."
Aw,
All
thank you
right.
so much. You're so sweet. So sweet. Yes, Brandy. Your
Now
turn
it's her
now.
Yep.
Yes. Subscribe to Christ Anxiety. It's very easy to remember. It's just at Christ Anxiety, all one word.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where she's at, but she needs 1,000 subscribers. And she does some great lives and stuff. So check her out. And she's an ex-Pentecostal like moi. So she's very, very interesting story she has. So,
Absolutely.
That's right.
yep.
Marcus said, "Chad, I ate gumbo. It was thunderstorming. I soaked my legs. I passed out and missed the pre-show."
Oh, well, we could watch the. I doubt he's still here. We could watch the replay.
There you go. Yep.
There we go.
Oh, because he was supposed to be. I forgot he was supposed to be in it.
Oh,
But
he's
that's
supposed to
not
be
a big.
on.
Yeah.
Aw.
I actually forgot.
Right.
I actually forgot he was supposed to be on. I just, I send the links if people can come. They can come. We still have like 6 people on.
Well, there you go, Marcus. Chad didn't remember either, so just show up next week and we'll think it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Destiny says, we support you, Marilyn. You are an OG never in and give a voice to so many of us. Unquestionable.
Thank you, Destiny.
Yeah.
That word didn't come out
Guys are
right,
gonna
but
make me-
yes.
You guys are gonna make me cry. Well,
Oh,
we're
let me
a
find
team
more
here.
then. I'll find more then. Here's one from Seneca.
Yeah.
Here. Marilyn, coffee, cults, and crafts tonight's dinner. Oh, it's brown
Nice.
butter chicken
Yeah.
with porcini ravioli. That does sound good.
She has a recipe it's sort of like steak au pois with the cream sauce and the booze and all that, but it's masala. So I'm gonna make it this week because she said she named a recipe of hers after each one of us, and she said Chad got a bunch of them. What was yours, Steve-O? made one for
Stroganoff. She made me stroganoff. I heard. Yeah, I
That's-
heard Chad's got like a whole book of
He's
recipes.
got a whole
Well, she
bunch of
does. She does. Because I told her, in general terms, that when I cook, I just Google the quickest on YouTube, the quickest like 60-second video. So I said maybe that's a good idea for you to do like a single parent video series. So that's what she did. She did this
That's a
1
great
minute
idea.
videos. Yeah,
Yeah.
Awesome.
that's how I cook 1 minute.
And then
videos,
she
Dave.
made, was it mojito? Was it tacos or something like that for
Some sort of
Juliana?
taco for Giovanni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mojito.
Sounded very good. That sounds right. Anhata reminds us that Jeff Beaumont brings the Ginger SPTV count up to 4 with Poe on the go, Apostate Alex, and Liz Gale Gingers represent. I would say there's one more. I would say there's
Anhata.
well, there's an Anhata, of course. Very true. So there's 5, and then 6. Aaron Smith Levin's a bit of a ginger.
Is he? I didn't know that.
Oh, that yeah. That's all ginger.
Really?
He puts the inge and ginge. I don't know what that is.
I never thought of Poe as a ginger, but yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Betsy Sue says, oops. Mitch, so glad you're making peace with your
Sorry.
past. Sorry about that
Hey,
one.
we tried.
Betsy
We
Sue.
tried. We
He had a
tried.
heart out. He had a heart out. We couldn't control it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just have to have him on again.
There's Miss Copter sassing Mitch for camera usage.
Sassing.
It's a bit of a
Yeah.
sass. Hello
Oh, she
from
got even
Bali.
sassier.
Bali and training. Bali, Indonesia, 10:22 a.m.
A.M.
Wow.
Really?
Thank
Wow.
you, Enda. You're still here. Right?
Oh,
Oh.
That's sorry about that one. Make that go away. There's a
She
super
said something
chat
to me,
for
but she
you.
said she sent me an email, so I got that. Super sticker. Thank you, Nana.
And a George Massey, another
Thank you,
congratulations,
George.
Marilyn. Super
Thank you
chat.
so much.
Joni Cummings, all 5 of you are 10 out of 10, beautiful and hot,
Ooh,
with a super chat.
thank you, Joni.
Joni's great. Yeah.
Kelly says Marilyn is a rock star, hand heart, and she writes great lyrics. ZDK approves.
She is amazing.
That'd be zero dank Kelly.
Zero Dank Kelly. Yeah. It was our kind of our therapy. We write silly lyrics to each other and send them back and forth.
Oh,
She's an amazing singer if you don't know already.
Yeah, those videos she did were amazing.
Oh, I think we did.
If you don't, check out her latest shorts.
I think we did read this one for Mitch.
Congrats to their other. Oh, we did.
The
Sorry, that one.
religions.
Yep, that one snuck up there.
Yeah, Kelly
Congrats,
Cooper!
Marilyn. That's from Kelly again. Yeah.
We sent her back to bed though. It was 3:30 in the morning when she went back to bed. Thank you, Kelly. I love you. May you
If you
have
wake up in the next hour, swing by and feel free to sleep with Steve-O. We'll have some nice relaxing music for you.
yeah.
George.
George Massey missed up on the previous super chat. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Kayla. Thank you, Kayla. You're so sweet. You guys are awesome. I'm just happy you're here. I'm just happy you're all here, honestly. Like I love when people pop into my chat like on a Sunday. I'm like, really? Really? You're here? Thank you. It's awesome.
Betsy Sue says, Marilyn, you're clear now. Time to start on the bridge.
I can see clearly now. The bridge is gone. We don't like the bridge, right?
Mm.
It's not even a bridge. It's more like a ladder, isn't it? It's not. It's not a bridge.
Right.
Right?
I would say you're right, a ladder.
It's like a ladder.
Yeah.
What do you think,
It's a
Steve?
ladder. It's definitely a ladder. There's no question.
Uh-huh.
Here,
Yeah.
I'll unstar you. Pop
So
them up. How's that?
we're almost done here. So I think here, this one. Gotta repeat this one.
Denver has a
Done-
radio.
done.
That's true.
Thank
That
you,
is very
Vegan 3.
true.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. I think this is a different one from Joni saying the same thing. So I think you got double the super chats on that.
You got to double it.
Oh, I think those were for Mitch. I think.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
He's-
true. That's true. I
he's a
forgot
10
his
out of
channel.
10.
He was, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a beautiful hottie.
And a super sticker from Skipper, the
Thank
geriatric
you,
chihuahua.
Skipper, geriatric chihuahua. Much appreciated. Nice.
And then
Everybody.
Mitch was so funny.
Denver has- I know. He just kept getting questions, but then he was like, "You guys are making
Yeah.
me late."
Yeah. He had a heart out.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Is that it?
I think
right.
so.
Nice. That was so much
Chad had a
fun.
ginger on his pre-show today. Must be
Oh,
Seneca.
Yeah.
Joni says, "I am Lord Xenu, and bow and worship me." Ha 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 ha. Okay.
Excellent.
Oh, and Jean Marie just got here. Or
Oh,
Jen Marie.
Jen
Jen Marie.
Marie.
Sorry, Jen Marie.
Hey. Oh,
Please
yeah.
catch us on. Please catch us on the replay. You
Yep.
can watch us at 2 times the speed, and Mitch will sound very funny.
Yeah, and apparently we're supposed to be doing something with Jackson on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
keep everybody posted.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Japan of Green Gables. Tony Danza was surprisingly good in the later version. I do agree with you there, but I don't know.
We're talking Who's the Boss or Taxi?
We're talking Tony Danza showing up in the 1990s version of 12 Angry Men. But
Oh, okay.
but Japan, I would say definitely reach out to Mitch and have a chat with him, because definitely worth it. But I actually like both versions, and one of them's in color, and I'm a big fan of color. So.
Sorry, Steven. We were in the start, so I didn't see your little ditties. I'm trying to scroll up.
Sorry,
He says-
Steven.
I'm singing little ditties and being ignored.
We had a lot more people than we're used to in the chat.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
We
there
went
were
in-
over 100 in the chat for most of it, so I apologize.
yeah.
But I do agree, Steve Britton has a radio
Yeah.
voice.
You have a great voice,
Too, yes.
and you write great lyrics too. So
Up the nonsensical bridge, Hubbard got more evil. Then they hit the magical tree, and pop up showed Lord Z. Oh, up the nonsensical bridge, Hubbard got
Hubbard
more
got more
evil,
evil,
and then
and they hit the magical three,
and pop
and pop.
up showed
up
Lord
showed Lord
Z.
Xenu.
Got it.
There we go.
Love it. There we go. We got one of them in there for you, Steve. So, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. Just a reminder, Sleeping with Steve-O will start at midnight Eastern time. So, in what is that, about 30 minutes, almost exactly 30 minutes. So, swing by my channel for that if you want to just relax and look at some lights and listen to some music all night. And other than that, that's all she wrote.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right, everybody. Good night. We'll see you soon.
See you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.